Striding across the length and breadth of rural Britain, there are 88,000 of them. They may be practical, but these controversial lumps of metal have helped to revolutionise power in the United Kingdom more than anything else in the last 100 years, in my opinion. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the brief but important history of the pylon. Let's skedaddle. I've always wanted to try this. If you touch a pylon, do you get electrocuted and die? I've never known, and I've heard stories that people have done that and then just drop dead, so I guess gotta try it. Did you get the shot? My viewers are gonna love that. Honestly, comedy gold, that. In the early 1920s, just 1 in 3 British homes had electricity. Rural Britain had remained largely untouched, unlike its urban counterparts, London, Birmingham, Manchester, who had well and truly harnessed electric post the Industrial Revolution. Villages relied heavily on oil lamps and candles after dusk, while farms relied on manual labour and horsepower still to get things done. It's no good. However, an electrical revolution was on the horizon, and in 1926, this came to fruition, when Parliament passed a bill called the Electricity Supply Act, or the National Grid, which was involved in it. This was a bold vision to connect an entire nation to a standardised electrical network. However, connecting Britain's scattered, isolated rural communities came with unprecedented challenges. Guys, how the heck do we transfer enormous amounts of electricity across this barren wasteland of farms and nothingness? It's got to be impossible, doesn't it? Guys, I think I've had an idea. This solution came from a relatively unexpected source, a Mr. Sir Reginald Blomfield. He was a respected architect, better known for designing buildings rather than industrial structures, but he was commissioned by the government to create something both functional but fitting for the British countryside. Drawing inspiration from the Greek word pylon, meaning gateway, Blomfield designed what he referred to as steel latticework towers of high tension. He has worded that quite well, to be fair. I mean, to me, they're just tall, ugly metal monsters. But it's kind of his job, I suppose, thinking about it. Some quick fire facts. Each pylon stands between 25 and 50 metres tall, each weighing around 30 tonnes, no less. The distinctive lattice design isn't merely aesthetic, it creates strength and uses minimal materials, perfect for the economically challenging 1920s, when the design came about. The UK's first ever pylon was erected in July 1928 near Edinburgh, marking the beginning of a new era. By 1933, after the very first one had been installed, Britain had over 26,000 pylons, each connecting the country with high voltage cabling stretching across over 4,000 miles. The country's most ambitious infrastructure project was therefore well on its way to changing Britain's rural landscape forever. For Britain's rural communities, the arrival of electricity was transformative. Farm work could be done after sunset, household chores would no longer take an entire day. Electric water pumps brought running water to homes, the list was endless. And by 1939, over 2/3 of British homes were connected to the grid. That's some achievement for just over a decade's work. Well done, whoever did that. And if you're so naive to think that there's never been any pushback for these metal giants springing up out of the blue, you're in for a surprise, because you could go as far back as 1929 to see that the Council for the Preservation of Rural England has been raising concerns about their visual impact. And yes, sometimes exceptions are made, for instance in areas of outstanding natural beauty. Sometimes underground cables are fitted, but coming at an expense 6 times that of the overhead alternative. In most cases, it ain't going to happen. I'm having concerns about my visual impact today, excuse me, oh my goodness. And these pylon quarrels show no signs of disappearing either, because between as recent as 2015 to 2023, as many as 70 community groups have formed to oppose new pylon routes in our countryside. I think it's fair to say that the tension between our energy needs and landscape preservation is here to stay, and will probably outlive you and I, so get used to it. Today, Britain's 88,000 pylons hold 7.2 thousand kilometres of transmission lines. They also provide a modest but welcome supplement to agricultural income, with farmers receiving around 360 quid per pylon hosted on their farmland. Ka-chin! What say you? Do you love them or loathe them? Because I know I called them ugly earlier, and sometimes I do think they are pretty. Write that one down, eh? But then other times I just think, wouldn't it be nice if you just erased them from the landscape? Like, get out of the way, just ugly. But whatever, it doesn't matter what we think, because they're here, and they're here to stay. So I guess we can just look at them and evaluate. They connect our lives, power our homes, but for me, I see them as symbols to an age where bringing actual light to rural Britain was considered worth changing the ancient horizons for. Oh well, thanks for watching, see you next time.